It's the FooRcast. It's me, Gavin Ford.
Aki.
I don't know if I feel like it, boys. It's a sad day for the podcast.
It is a sad day for the podcast. It's a really sad day.
Yeah.
Viewers might have noticed already.
There'll be an uproar in the comments, I'm sure.
I'm sure there's already people sad, tearing up. But officially, well, you may have noticed, Aki's not wearing his coat.
Yeah, had a little accident with it.
What happened, Ak?
Well, I was just out with the dogs last night, Dad's dog, and I was throwing a tennis ball. She brought it back. I don't know what happened. I bent down and it ripped.
Where did it rip? Where?
Up the front, like by the zip. And it might be repairable, but at the minute, it's yeah.
So sad way to start.
Yeah, we're going to have to really
I'm
have a good one.
I'm a bit cold. I'm a bit cold today, to be honest with you.
Maybe Owen could turn it into a pair of shorts.
Oh, he really has, but you're training trousers.
So yeah, sad news to start. So yeah, sorry to hear that, Ak.
I'm actually gutted because.
Well, I think everyone will be gutted
Yeah,
because everyone loves you wearing that coat.
maybe we should frame the remains.
Yeah, maybe we should give the remains away. Competition if you want to win Aki's coat. But back to business. Evil B Live MC, who was in our conversation with Tyrone about who's the best MC. If you missed that, go back and listen to that when Owen wasn't here. Probably the best podcast we've ever done when Owen wasn't here.
Definitely was.
Really good one. So yeah, if you enjoy good podcast,
If you enjoy a good podcast, stop watching now.
like go watch the one with Tyrone. So yeah, but Evil B said the following on his Instagram. He said this: I'm going to call my agent next week and introduce a cap fee that allows young and aspiring promoters in venues under 500 capacity the option to afford me. I miss small grassroots venues and I miss working with young, ambitious promoters, and I want to help. Pow.
Powerful. I like it.
So we talked a while ago about clubs, what we can do to save them. Is this the type of thing that can save clubs?
I think it's definitely the right step in the right direction, because it's sort of the artist taking back the ability to put themselves on a lineup without having to have obstacles in the way, like booking fees, like big brands and promoters who want to just get the big names on. And this actually gives a chance to some smaller promoters, smaller venues, to get a big name on their lineup.
Yeah, because I think like at the minute they're all outpriced. You can't actually afford to put them in there, and I feel like Bilo said, he said he's missing out on these kind of intimate raves as well because he's outpriced and you can't.
Well, they're arguably some of the best ones, aren't they? When
Exactly,
you're in that really small room and the people are right in front of you and the ceiling's low and it's sweaty and like that's the.
They're the best ones. That I'd choose something like a 200 cap. I'd choose over a Printworks or a Drum Sheds any day.
When was the last time you went to a 200 cap venue?
I don't know about 200 cap. Engine Rooms is probably the small local one that I go to a lot. We've also got Suburbia, which is probably
Suburbia's 200,
which I've not checked out.
Is like 800.
Yeah, Andrews is kind of a big
I've not
rave.
checked out Suburbia since they've started doing more events there.
That's kind of mad that he sees Endrum as kind of a small venue these days.
Okay,
Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
Like we see that as a big venue back in the day, but
So is that
now.
is that the mentality of like?
I think maybe that is. I hadn't thought about that, but it could be because it's become such a what's the biggest stage we can do? What's the most people we can get in one venue? That even like an 800, 600 cap feels small.
Because Drum Sheds or whatever is what 15,000, isn't it?
Yeah.
So like
That's an old IKEA, isn't it? So you've got to imagine the size of it.
So that is small comparison to that. I don't know what Warehouse Factory is. 5,000, 6,000, 7,000?
It's got to be up
Warehouse
there.
Project.
Yeah.
It's about 10,000, I think.
10,000.
Yeah.
So again, it's small compared to that. It's a tenth. It's less than a tenth.
Well, it's one of the smaller rooms, isn't it? Really?
I used to play gigs in Canterbury in a place called Albury's, which is a event space at the bottom of a wine bar, and that was 200 cap, and that was proper low ceilings.
But for us, when we come up, when we were coming up, there was like Bagleys and Rollers, which was probably 3,000.
Yeah.
But that was massive.
Yeah.
And like, so Engine Rooms would be massive, would be massive to us back then.
Well, it's a big club to us, isn't it?
It's a big, like
I still see it as that because I actually haven't been to Drum Sheds or whatever.
So
I think the thing with Engine Rooms as well is the way it's set out is they are able to make the venue bigger and smaller.
Yeah, but that wouldn't fall under B Live's under 500 thing because
Right.
No, I don't
that'd
think it would.
be sneaky, wouldn't it? Oh, is it 500 capacity? Not really, but we've made it smaller for this.
Do you think this could start a little revolution and a little trend from other?
Well, other artists have to join in.
Do you feel they're gonna feel like they have to do this as well now?
Well, I saw again, this is Southampton based. So talking about engine rooms in Suburbia. So Suburbia is 200 capacity, engine rooms 800. You say they can make it smaller. And they had 4 a.m. crew at Suburbia,
Yeah.
which sold out and was like a big sold out show, so 200 people. And now they got announced for engine rooms for 800 people, and it's like on, where it's almost sold out there as well. I hear like through the Southampton grapevine. So essentially, then obviously they didn't say to their agent what B Live's done, but essentially because they did that, because they did the small show. Everyone heard about the 4 a.m. crew show in Southampton. People obviously, and also when something sells out, you can't get in, and something you want to go to spreads quicker.
Yeah.
And now people got put on a waiting list. Now they're doing the bigger show for the bigger, I assume, bigger money
Yeah.
and bigger crowd and bigger things. So if you're a newer artist, that should be, obviously B Live's been around for a long, long time. So the established artist doing it is great because he gets better thing. But if you're a new artist, if you sell out that 200 capacity thing, then you can move up, and then it's better for everyone, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that could be a model. That could be what starts to save it.
Yeah. I mean, it's a shame because obviously when I was younger, you see EZ in smaller venues, and they're probably the best nights I ever went to.
Yeah.
Rhinos and stuff like that. And obviously then he got bigger, and now he's outpriced himself. You never see him in those kind of venues anymore.
EZ was the same price for years, wasn't he? No matter what venue, he just was the one.
I mean,
one price.
Obviously, he deserved the money.
Oh yeah. He's earned it. He was
yeah.
obviously one of the best ever to do it. So
But it's a shame that you don't see him in those kind of venues anymore. Like,
well, yeah, I think he's doing a run in London, like
yeah.
But the thing is, when DJs do it, I think there's a big sort of thing on. This is my headline show, or I'm doing every Friday here. I'm doing everything like this, where all people want really is to see their DJs close up for a decent price in like a real intimate venue. Like that's thing. But I think there's a lot of smoke and mirrors in music, and I think some DJs can't sell 200 tickets that are on these massive they're on these massive lineups, and they actually couldn't sell, so they have to be careful, because if you do go, oh look, I'll tell you what, I'll do your 200 capacity thing, I'll do you a favour, and then you don't sell it out, then you get exposed for the thing. So you've got to be a 4 a.m. crew that's. So I think that's why coming up, or with someone like B Live who's got the following, obviously he's going to need a DJ to do that and come down as well. So it'll be interesting to see, and once he's done it, it'll be interesting to see if he announces like a run of shows. Be interesting to see if other people join in and do it.
Yeah, interesting, because thinking ahead, if other people do jump on this and this becomes a thing where artists like B Live or whoever become more affordable for these small promoters, does it then cause an issue for some of the bigger artists who their managers or agents might be trying to book tours and outpricing themselves from venues in cities because they know that they can get people like B Live in at a cheaper rate?
Yeah, I mean, that's a trick question. It's because obviously if you're going to do smaller venues, a smaller price, agents are going to get affected by this as well, aren't they?
The agent's the problem in the first place, though. I don't know. Like agents are creating. Obviously, agents try to make as much money for themselves as.
But if you think so, say just for argument's sake, B Live does Southampton Suburbia, 200 people, sells it out, really good night. He posts clips of it. Then Evil B says to his management, "I want to go do there because Southampton look well up for it," and B Live just shut it down. So they
do it's the same person. Though. You do that.
Yeah, I'm
cool, okay.
Rather than
so it's what I just for like he's watching videos of himself.
I said a different alias instead of saying a different artist.
Okay, cool. Yeah. I mean,
I want to come shut down Southampton as well. That venue looks really good. And they come down and they say, okay, cool. You can have him for X amount of money. And they say, oh well, B Live only did it for this. They might be pricing themselves out or forced then to come down to a cheaper price.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's a
tricky one.
It's the same as what they do at the top end of it, where they're trying to go, oh, okay, we need £5,000 for this guy to come because he did this. Like, it's just basically years and years ago, before this whole age of headline shows and all this sort of stuff, it used to be how big's your club, how much you selling the tickets for, and then you would say, would it be £10 back then? £10 would be loads. But you see, like, oh, it's 300 capacity and it's a fiver. Yeah. So this is the maths. And then the agent would go, okay, at that maths, you can afford this much. And that would either work. The artist was either big enough for that club or not big enough. Or you could say, okay, well, it's a bigger artist, I'm going to charge more. That's what it was based on. Now it's not based on that at all.
I think what he's trying to also what he's saying is like, say like B-Live comes to Southampton, performs for £500, but someone in Bournemouth booked him for a bigger venue and they're paying a certain amount, and they're going to say, well, hang on a minute, he's done Southampton for how we're paying this stuff for him? Like, surely that's a bit unfair. Or do you think that's going to be a problem, like in the process of this, or do you think bigger promoters will understand and go, actually, I'm all for this?
I mean, you could argue that bigger promoters, what we've said about that 4am crew example, bigger promoters need the smaller things to build up. I think you need the smaller things to. Yeah. It's got to be a progression.
It benefits them, doesn't it? Because they can say, "Oh, we were thinking of getting B-Live in. Yeah. Let's see how he reacts if he does the one down the road that's 200 cap." And then when they see that sells out and the clips look mad, oh well, we'll get him in our place for later in the year.
Yeah, it's a great point. So Engine Rooms is owned by Suburbia, so that.
Well, that's the perfect setup,
scenario thing. Yeah. But if they didn't own it and you're watching Engine Rooms, you go see 4am crew sold out there, go grab them. You would do that, and then you know it's going to be it's going to be more money because you're a bigger venue, but you can afford it, and then you know that there's a market for it.
Yeah, you know.
So it's also almost like you can use these smaller venues as like an academy kind of system, isn't it? Like,
and also, I mean, I'm sure like if you're in Bournemouth or Portsmouth or anywhere in the country,
yeah.
I'm sure. Well, I think there's a north-south divide, but anywhere, if 4am crew sold out in Southampton, they'd probably sell out in Bournemouth, I assume.
Yeah,
I guess.
And Portsmouth being, I say, like
a low cap venue, they would, old guys.
So yeah, all the bigger promoters can go around and go, oh, actually, yeah, we should chuck them on the lineup. We should chuck that thing. Yeah, so I think that does solve it. Yeah, so I think if it's actually a good thing to do. I think you do it, and then like you actually put yourself in the shop window to a promoter going, well, look, I can sell tickets. All promoters want is you to sell tickets. They want to book someone who's going to sell tickets.
Yeah.
So when you go and look, I can.
It's a really good way to test the buzz of an artist as well, because there's no real correlation between bookings and your Spotify numbers. Maybe your like social numbers are more influential than your Spotify numbers or your SoundCloud numbers.
Yeah.
So if you're seeing someone who's making a buzz on SoundCloud or on Instagram or on Spotify, you can get them down to your smaller venue, see how that reacts, see if you can get 200 people down to see them, and then if whether or not like they can graduate from the academy, as Aki put it.
Yeah, but I think back in the day, you get booked for a night, and then they say you do the maths, and then you're going to get paid with the right amount. But nowadays, I think people are scared of the clip where this club's empty to see this artist, and then that goes round.
Yeah.
So people are, as much as they want the sold out clip, they're equally as scared of I've come to see this artist and no one's here, which is probably what stops it. Because if you're doing a cheaper price to do the smaller venue, and it could mess up your thing, because obviously if you're a bigger promoter, you go, well, hang on, I've just seen you've just done.
Yeah.
If a big artist, say a big artist wants £5,000 to do a thing, then they do another club up the road and it sells nothing, the promoter's going to go back and go, can we do it for cheaper, because he's just done up the road and not done any tickets, so he's not worth £5,000. So that's always going to be, it's the value. If you can sell 200 tickets, it's amazing because you sell out tickets. But if you can't and you're on these lineups, it could expose you. That's going to be the scare, isn't it?
Also, I feel like we've said in previous podcasts that youngsters now, they just want to go to these big venues and get the footage. If B-Live starts doing these smaller ones and then the footage comes out of him and it looks amazing, then these other people will start coming to these smaller venues.
Also, the other thing as well is promoter. It might not be the artist's fault that those tickets are sold. The promoter might be rubbish, and he's saying, I want to be involved with new promoters. Like, how do you know? The other thing an agent would do is, what have you done previously? What have you done? Like, you build up to book an artist, and like the better you get as a promoter, the bigger the things you get, the better artists. So if you are starting new, like, and if that clip goes viral of no, you can't go, well, hang on, the promoter was rubbish. So there's that as well. Yeah. There's a lot to, like, it's definitely the right thing to do, but I can see why artists would be.
So from your point of view then, does that appeal to you as artists? Would you be interested in going and doing a 200 cap venue somewhere?
Yeah.
I feel like I think there has to be like a boundary of how far you can go to do it. Like if you go say, you're going to come to Edinburgh and do a 200 cap. It's like, I'm not sure.
I like Edinburgh.
no, I'm not saying that. But I mean, the travel alone is going to cost.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's like, my personal view is if it's like, say, like south, like Birmingham up to Portsmouth.
Yeah,
Portsmouth.
But my thing's always been, and what I always say to artists when they ask how much is like, how much do you want to go to this place? So if you say, oh, it's in Portsmouth, it's like just up the road. So it's not thing. If it's in Southampton, it's never really been about the size of the venue.
No.
To us.
Not really, no.
Like, but we've been doing it a long time. I understand it's a case of, do we really want to go all the way to this place for this amount of money?
Yeah. But like you say, when you first start off doing gigs, you're hungry. You're hungry to do it anyway.
We're doing things for free, like.
Yeah. So I mean, like, but what I'm saying is, some of these established artists who have been around for years, are they going to go? Well, I'm not going to go up to Newcastle from London for.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like. So
that's why I guess every art, like, you need loads of artists to do it. I
think you need artists in certain areas to say, I'm going to do it around this area. Like, I'm willing to do it around Sheffield, leave someone up there, and then maybe that's a way they could, all agree to do something to help.
That's a good point.
Well, do you think, and at that point, that the as good as a sentiment as there is from Be Live, do you think that the practicality of it means that it might not be as feasible as he thinks? Because I don't know where Be Live's based, but if say he's in London and someone in Newcastle is trying to book him, do you think that then becomes an issue because the train fares more, the hotels, everything starts to rack up?
Well, yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. Like, maybe if all the big artists get together and say, look, I'll take these gigs around this area, you take around that area, but possibly, like
Be Live will have an agent, and they have a roster of artists on an agent. If a load of the artists, they can say Be Live can't do Newcastle, but this person can for that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That's why if you had a load coming forward, then that would solve that.
I think if you get the agents working with the actual clubs and promoters and like helping them out, then that could work. Like say, well, with Be Live's this there, that he can't get to Newcastle for 500 quid.
But what we talked about is what clubbing needs is it needs these small parties and these small venues. That's what needs to kick. That's what's missing. That's what's dying out.
Yeah.
So Be Live saying I want to work with these other things is exactly the right thing to do to save music, because that's what we're saying. You need clubs. You need these small gigs going again. So it is the right thing, and if just to say it needs more people to join in, and then and
also like for agents, like if it's going to benefit them in the long run, if it's a small thing and it's all going to end up moving on to bigger venues and bigger bookings, then surely it's in their interest to get their artists more bookings in the long run.
Well, yeah. So look at that model from selling out the 200 to the bigger one. I think that needs to be the plan. Like, especially with newer artists and stuff.
Because we could all see clubbing in the UK is kind of a bit of a dying scene at the minute, so it needs a reboot, and I feel like this could be the way it could all start.
100%.
So yeah,
could Be Live save clubbing?
Well, yeah, but it's I think it's a great idea from him, and it'd be good to see some of the other artists get behind it and get involved and say, look, we're willing to do the same.
We'll keep an eye and see how it unfolds.
Yeah.
Any questions or comments? Put them in the comment section. Let us know what you think.
Yeah.
Is this going to save clubbing? Is it not? Who knows?
Hopefully.
Well,